guys, and welcome to the show. Today we are going to be reviewing this absolute stunning watch from Steinhart. This is the Ocean One 500 Premium in titanium, and of course I've put it on the Urban Gentry NATO strap. It just goes. It had to be done. And thank you very much to Jeramy C for lending me this. I do apologize. I'm 2 weeks late. I should have sent it back already. I was in hospital, but on the bright side, I had 2 extra weeks to admire this watch, and it's a really exciting piece because I think finally Steinhart are moving away from just straight homages to something a little bit more involved. It has a very impressive movement, which is highly decorated considering its price. The quality is impeccable. It's something, you know, quality definitely is something Steinhart are absolutely spot on about. I mean, I've never ever experienced a Steinhart that wasn't, you know, that they're very consistent. They're very consistent, and I think for the money, what you're getting here is extremely competitive. It's definitely given a lot of mid-range pieces a run for its money. Anyway, I'm talking far too much. Let's switch perspectives now and have a closer look at this fantastic little bad boy from Steinhart. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. And today we are reviewing the Steinhart Ocean One Titanium 500, and this is from the premium line of Steinhart's watches. So a little step up from the norm with some very unique features which we're going to have a closer look at today. This sells for online direct from Steinhart, I think just over the 500, 550 plus mark, around there. I think it's about 530 euros in Europe, and of course they have international delivery and all the rest of it. It is an absolute cracking watch, and really is exciting because it marks a kind of departure from the straight homage watches that Steinhart are so famous for, and goes into a new kind of more original, more unique realm. Now, of course, I've put it on my Urban Gentry, the official Urban Gentry NATO strap, and I think it just complements it really, really well. Let's just quickly get dimensions out of the way, and then let's focus in and talk a little bit about this watch in more detail. Now, before I commence with the measurements, I just want to give assurance to Jeremy that this has been covered with sellotape, so it's not going to damage his precious Steinhart. The watch has a diameter of 42 millimeters, thickness of 14 millimeters. Lug to lug, we're looking at 15 millimeters. And then of course the lug width is 22 millimeters. So on the larger size, but not overly large, this is really what the key defining factor that differs between Steinhart's watches and the original Rolexes that they obviously are so inspired by. They tend to be a little bit bigger, and this is where actually I've bought a Steinhart before. I was profoundly influenced by a friend of mine's purchase. My good friend Max, who's probably watching, he had the OVM, and I got to see it, and I was really, really impressed. And I had been eyeing Steinhart for a very long time. I'd always wanted the Rolex GMT, the vintage GMT that they also do a homage of. I bought it, I reviewed it, you can check it out in the archives. But however, it was 42 millimeters and it just wore too large for me. I really wish that they had come down to a 40 millimeter size. For me, it's the first disappointment about the watch. That it's a shame that they've got so many things in this watch right, but I just wish they had maintained the original Rolex sizes. But for many people, the slightly larger size is absolutely fine, and it's not, you know, overbearingly huge. It's just, it's a shame it's not a little bit smaller. Anyway, so dimensions are done. Let's have a look at the movement, because this is a really interesting movement. Inside we have the Soprod A10-2, and this is their top grade movement. This is a hacking 25 jewel movement, and they've done a lot of work on it. Let's just see if we can get a better view of inside. A lot of perlage work going on, some beautiful little beveled edges. Let me see if it's in focus. Got this lovely display back showing it off, and this beautiful gold tone custom roll tone. You can just see we can just see those beautiful blued screws glistening ever so elegantly in the light. They really have gone to town on the decoration. I mean, considering its price mark, I've seen dress watches costing 3 times as much, 4 times as much without this kind of level of decoration. It's really is a couple of order for them, and I think that Steinhart have really hit a home run with this movement. It's a very well regarded movement. It performs impeccably. I'm not quite sure the power reserve. I might have to look that up, but I'm practically sure it's about 38 hours, possibly 40. I might have to double check. If you know, just add down in the comment below. So just a beautiful amount of detail there, and really even behind the balance wheel there, the decoration continues. So no expense has really been spared in that department. We have this beautiful screw down case back with this sapphire glass display, sapphire on the front of course, and you'll immediately notice it's a lot darker for the color, the tone of the case, and that is because obviously it's titanium, as the name suggests. Now the darker color might not be everybody's cup of tea, and it really is quite dark. I'm quite surprised at how dark it is. This makes the piece quite unique. The finishing is very well done. Something that Steinhart do very well is that their quality is very consistent for this amount of money. Signed crown there, that is of course screw-in crown there, and the bezel insert is a fantastic ceramic bezel with actual lume in the markings, which is fantastic. And the bezel action itself is absolutely flawless. We have 120 click, very solid feeling. Now this of course is unidirectional, hardly any play there, lines up absolutely perfectly as you can see. This is one of the first telltale signs of its kind of superiority over its predecessors, is we have now a ceramic bezel, which is fantastic because it's scratch resistant. We've got embedded lume in the markings, and then of course the main difference is in the dial. And this is where it's all happening in this fantastic dial. It's a matte black dial, and let's just get my pencil so we can have a really more detailed look. The main difference here we have are these hands. Instead of the Mercedes Homage typical hands that you associate with the Steinhart, we have these beautiful broad, really flat sword hands there, with this beautiful blue second hand that is echoed in the details on the inner chapter ring, which I believe is another little detail that I haven't seen before on a Steinhart. And you'll see the markings in that same blue with the watch name Titanium 500, again in blue, Swiss made in blue. Lovely little details, a fantastic hue of blue. I really love it, very lively. It really gives it a kind of extra little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of flair to the watch. I would have loved to see even a red one. I mean, I hope they do a different version with red. That would be really, really cool as well. Anyway, I gotta say, I love blue anyway, so this is absolutely gorgeous, and I love these very subtle dashes of blue. It's not apparent, you know, at first sight, but then when you really have a look at it, you notice all the little extra details. I also love the new layout. They've moved the date position to the 6 o'clock, and they've positioned it and shaped it. It's in white, so kind of matches it's symmetrical, which is really, really cool. So we got two rectangles, little square at the bottom, and of course a triangle at the top. Not much has changed here, but by putting it here, it just makes it, it's almost you don't even notice that the date is there. It has that kind of the no date sub look, that kind of slightly adds the stealthiness of it. It's a very subtle change, but I absolutely love it. So, you know, the big differences here, obviously the inner chapter ring, the dashes of this very vibrant blue, the positioning of the date here, the new upgraded hands, which is a really, and it really does suit it. It's definitely not the run-of-the-mill Steinhart Homage that we're so used to, and they've really thought about this. To top it off, we have this complete titanium case and bracelet, and of course the ceramic, so it just really elevates the whole watch to another level. So it doesn't just stop there. We have Super Luminova BGW9 lume in here, so let's just have a look at that very quickly and change to a lume shot. As you can see, we have lume in the bezel, so really cool lume. It's bright, consistent, it holds its charge because of the flat hands, really generous spread of lumen over there. it's very bright, very responsive, and really does its job. So I absolutely adore it. I just only wish my Rolex Submariner had this lume in the ceramic bezel. Really is a step up. As far as brightness goes, the main dial, difficult to tell, it doesn't really come over too well in the camera, but the actual dial is, I think it's quite an even spread. I think the insert is a little bit dimmer, but that's just because it's smaller. The lumen over there is smaller. Let's take it back to the studio. Okay, welcome back, guys. So as you can see, fantastic lume. We got this beautiful domed sapphire crystal on the top, really nicely done, and I love how it just sits, the angle of the insert, the way it just sits there, it's beautiful. And of course it's 500 meters water resistance, which is a lot more than you really need, but I can't believe that it has this fantastic display back and yet it's still 500 meter water resistant. It really is quite a task to do, and I take my hat off to Steinhart. The specifications, what you're getting here for the money, is a lot of bang per buck. Now, I obviously sold my previous Steinhart. I can't quite remember. I think I broke about even. They retain their value quite well. I'd say about equal as a Squire, perhaps. I think Squire tend to do a little bit better because of their longer heritage, and they're a little bit more, you know, especially if we're talking the 1521, it's a bit more respected by true watch connoisseurs, whereas Steinhart is a bit of a divisive brand because of its homages. But I think, you know, if Steinhart continue to make watches like this, they're really gonna come into their own. This is a much more original design, and I think it's exciting to see what Steinhart come with next. So let's just summarize the watch. I'll do a quick wrist shot for you. So here we have a wrist shot. Now, as you can see, it is a big watch. It's a little bit too big for me. It sits quite high up, especially on a NATO, because it is a little bit taller. Now, I wasn't a fan of the bracelet. I just think this color is a little bit too dark for me. The finishing is pretty good. The construction is solid. The bracelet clasp, it's nothing exactly to write home about, very kind of bog standard. There's a little micro adjustment there. They do have screws on the links, which is a nice touch. Of course, it's signed Steinhart there. It's average, it's nothing special. We do have, of course, solid end links, which is absolutely fantastic, but this really comes alive, I think, on a NATO. This on a leather NATO strap would be absolutely gorgeous. It's just a shame that it is a little bit too big, especially for me. I feel if this was 40mm, I would add it to my collection immediately with no hesitation. In a heartbeat, it'd be in my collection. So let's just kind of summarize it well. We've got a fantastic sole prod movement, a well-respected, fantastically performing, impeccably performing movement in there. We have an outstanding construction. The consistent Steinhart quality that they're so famous for is there. We've got a really competitive price range. It's going to give the Squire 1521, the Oris Aquis, a lot of divers a run for its money. It really is. What else is out there? You know, all the micro brands. It's really going to give them a run for their money. Of course, with that lume in the bezel and this new hands, it's kind of made it a little bit more contemporary, which I absolutely adore. The downsides, I think, obviously it's too big. It wears very flat. There's hardly any curve on the lugs, so it doesn't kind of hug your wrist, let's say like a Glycine Combat Sub would, or a Squire, which are the same size. It's not compatible for the smaller wristed because it's very flat. I wish Steinhart would start making more slightly smaller cases with a curve, even a 38, a 40 or 38mm diameter case would be absolutely fantastic. I would love them forever. I hope and pray for that day to come, hopefully one day, especially as the trend for smaller watches is coming back. I really hope they kind of pay attention to that and capitalize on it, because I'm sure there would be a demand. I mean, the Christopher Ward Trident comes in 38. Why doesn't this? You know, it's a real shame. Other than that, we've got a strong resale value. You know, you can definitely sell these quite reliably. You wouldn't make a profit, but you'd probably get most of your money back, which is really fantastic for, I dare to say, a mid-range piece, because it's so affordable. It's almost entry level, so really impressive. All round a definite winner. I just wish it was a little bit smaller. Anyway guys, that's my review of the Steinhart Ocean 1 Titanium. Let's take it back to the studio. Okay, welcome back guys. So as you can see, a very interesting piece, exquisite quality, amazing competitive price. There are some negatives, but if you can pull off this slightly larger sized diver, guys, if you're on the fence about it, definitely go for it. I think at its price range, nothing really comes close. You got a superior movement, you got a ceramic, fantastic bezel there. It's just pure class, guys. And anyway, I'm very sad to see it leave. I'm sending it back to Jeremy tomorrow in the post, along with some extra straps to say thank you. And of course, I will be shipping it with this strap. I just think it's made for it. Okay guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Please let me know what you think of this timepiece down below in the comments. I'd really like to hear your opinions. Also, any particular Steinharts you'd like me to take a look at, nominate them down below as well. Please give me a like if you enjoyed this video and found it useful. And I'll definitely catch you in the next one. Okay guys, ciao.